Hey there friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for stopping by today. I'm back with a new layout and process video for Hip Kit Club, and I'm using the 2019 July kits again. And I'm going to start this layout with one of the Pocket Life cards. I've been eyeballing this Pocket Life card since I opened the kits, and my daughter's swimsuit matches it. It has the same color little circles on there, so I thought that would be fun to try to use together. And then this is one of the exclusive cut files for July. It's a gorgeous floral tropical background, and then for my background I'm going to use this really pretty light purple cardstock that you can find in this month's cardstock kit. And I know I'm going to do some mixed media, so I'm going to add a little bit of white gesso to the cardstock here. What I'm going to do with that cut file, instead of using it as a whole for a background design, I'm going to cut out a lot of the flowers and leaves and create basically my own embellishments using those. And I want to kind of create a vertical design going from the top of the page to the bottom. So I'm going to use some white gesso to prep my cardstock for some paint later. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to come over here to this background. I love how this looks as a background, and I definitely want to cut this again and use it as a full background. But for this particular page, I wanted to just cut a couple things out individually, and you would never know that these leaves and flowers came from this, big background design. So this is just another way to use this cut file. And a lot of cut files you can manipulate and use them in different ways. You could also use this as a stencil. That would look really cool if you put it on some cardstock and then sprayed different colors over it. That would look really cool too. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint these up, and I just pulled out a paper towel that I've already used to dab up some other stuff with, and then I'm going to use my finger and go back to the white gesso and just prep these shapes, because this is just plain white textured cardstock, and I want to be able to blend and smudge colors on it, and I can do that a lot easier with gesso because it's going to allow me to do lots of blending and smudging, and it's not going to soak right through the paper. Okay, so I'm going to use lots of Lindy's Stamp Gang sprays. 3 of the sprays I've got here we get this month in the July kit, and then there are 2 here that we've got a few months ago, and they're all different shades of 2 pinks, 2 blues, and 1 yellow. And I've got the darker pink from this month, and I'm going to mix that with the lighter pink that we got a few months ago, and just use my brush and some water and paint these flowers. I'm trying to do a little bit of a darker tone in the middle. I want these to look, as realistic as possible, and for some reason I always want to make the middle parts of the flowers a little bit darker. And they're not going to look totally realistic, obviously, but I don't want them to just be one solid flat color. I like to create dimension and depth and just make them look a little more, not so flat. So this is the yellow color that we get this month. It's very bold. It's got lots of gold shimmer when it dries, and when you mix the yellow with the pink, you get a little bit of an orangey color. And so yeah, these are going to be really pretty once they're done. And this was fun to do. And again, this is a great way to just customize your own embellishments. You could make these any color you want, light, dark, anything. And so to me, that's a fun thing to do. All right, so I've got a pink hibiscus. Now I'm going to create sort of a purplish one, and to do that, obviously I'm going to mix some pinks and blues together. That light blue color we got a few months ago. I'm also going to use a little bit here shortly, the darker blue that we get this month. And again, all these sprays that you see here are from Lindy's Stamp Gang, and they have all been in Hip Kit Club color kits. One thing about some of these Lindy's is they definitely dry a lot softer and a lot lighter than when you first spray it down. So it's fun to continue to add layers to make it a little bit darker or a little bit bolder. Or if you want to go with the pastel look, then you can kind of test that out and see how it looks when it dries the first time. So here I've got a pink one, a blue one, a purple one, a yellow one, and then more of a different shade of a pink. And then for the big palm fronds, I'm going to mix the yellow and the darker blue to create green. And I love how these turned out. And you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. Those two colors are very bold, but watch as this dries. It's going to get a lot lighter. And so definitely, you know, you want to go back and maybe add a couple of different layers if you want it to be darker. And so that's what I do. I let some of these dry and then I go back and add a little bit more. And yeah, I love the way that yellow and that blue mix together. It's a perfect shade of green. So if you're looking for green, that is an easy way to do it. And I actually like the way my paper towel looks. Yeah, one of these days I'm just going to whip out the paper towel and use that on a layout. Who knows how long that would last, right? But anyway, it would look cool. Okay, so now I decided to add in a little bit more shading with some gelatos, and those are from my stash. And gelatos are so much fun because they are really easy to add shading like this. They're easy to scribble down and smudge. You can add water to them and smudge them even more. These are still a little bit wet, the paper, and so they smudge really, really easily when I scribble it down and just use my finger. I like to use my finger. The gesso, like I say this a lot, but the gesso allows the blending and smudging to go perfectly. You can still smudge without gesso, but it definitely looks a lot more blended if you do use the gesso. So I just started playing around with the cardstock. All that gesso is dry, and I just started to kind of experiment with the design idea that I had. I'm going to use another one of the Pocket Life cards that has dots again over on the left side of the photo. And then this photo was taken in July, not this July, a couple years ago, but this is a July kit. And so I thought I would fussy cut out that July piece from another Pocket Life card. I don't wind up using it, but at first I thought I might, so I cut it out. And now I'm going to go back to my background, and I'm going to use the stencil that we get this month also in the color kit, and it's these really fun lines. And I thought I would just start going crazy on the background here and adding some texture. So I'm spraying those same sprays that I just used to make the flowers right on top of the stencil, and then flipping the stencil over and then using it as a stamp. So stencils also have multiple uses. Now I didn't want just solid lines on the background. I just basically wanted some splotches of color, but at the same time having a little bit of the lines show. I wanted this to be kind of blue, a little bit of pink, a little bit of purple. A lot of this is going to be covered up, and you're going to just be able to see it kind of peeking through all of the flowers and around the photo and the Pocket Life card. And so it's just going to be something that just adds some interest to the background. So that's all I'm doing here, and I'm splattering. I'm using my water spray bottle to dilute it a little bit. I'm going to dab up a little bit, and you can kind of see here how it's definitely lightening up as it dries. I think you will get a totally different look if you don't use gesso. It's going to soak right through the paper, and so it's probably going to stay the same color. But yeah, I like the way this looks lightened up. I don't want it to be super dark because the leaves and the flowers are going to be bolder than the background, and that's what I want. So I want the background to be still have watercolor on it, but be a little less bold, so the flowers stand out. So here I mixed the two pinks together, the one from this month and then the one from a few months ago, and I'm just letting it kind of run and blend, do its thing, do a little bit of tilting the page this way and that way and let it run, and then dabbing up a little bit here and there. And I love how that's looking. I love that you can still kind of see some of the lines from the stencil. Just creates some interest. And then I'm going to kind of messily go back and rearrange all the flowers and see how it's looking. And I love how that looks. So I'm going to start to assemble everything. I'm going to, like I said, use that Pocket Life card as a layer behind the photo. So I'm going to attach those together. I decided not to use any tissue paper today. I just didn't for whatever reason. Yeah, usually I do, but today I didn't. And then I tore off the bottom half or the bottom part of that other Pocket Life card just to make it a little shorter to match the size of my photo. And they are going to be a little uneven when I layer them. I tend to like to make my, if I use two photos or two two things of the same size like this, I kind of like to make them a little crooked on purpose. And then I pulled out a lot of embellishments. I've got some of the Pink Fresh Studio stickers and die cuts. I've got some of the exclusive, actually a lot of the exclusive flowers and leaf die cuts. And I'm just starting to play around with it. I'm going to use that One Canoe 2 big dimensional piece with the yellow, what is that, like crepe paper around the edge. And then I've fussy cut out another little flower cluster from another Pocket Life card. I'm going to use that little blue camera. I'm going to use a couple flowers over to the left of the photo, including that reddish pink one that's on top of the photo. And then that die cut that says cool, I actually cut that from 2 weeks ago, I think, and I didn't use it. It's from the exclusive die cuts from this month, the one that says too cool for my shades. I don't know if you've seen that one yet, but I just cut the word cool, and I had it, and I thought, why not use it? You've got it, it works, go for it. So I'm going to use that. I'm very lightly going to go ahead and start to glue things down because I don't want to move anything, because once I move it, I never can get it back to the way it was. So I'm going to go ahead and very lightly start to attach everything to the background. I did create off camera another smaller purple flower from that cut file down at the bottom, and then another yellow one for the top, because I felt like the yellow, or the top part, needed some more yellow. So I'm going to add a little bit of thread here. I don't go too crazy with the thread. I add a little bit of yellow over to the right, and then a little bit of the bluish color over to the left, just for little pops of color and some interest and some texture. And then I went back and forth about what to do with the title. Oh yeah, for this dimensional sticker or embellishment, I did peel off the foam sticky part that came with it, because since I added foam behind my picture and the Pocket Life card, I felt like that sticker didn't need any more dimensions, so I just removed it and stuck it straight down to the picture. Well, I will here in a minute once I start to glue it all down. And there are lots of options in the kit this month for titles, but I didn't want to use anything too big, and I really didn't want to cover up any of the flowers. So I'm going to use that fabulous die cut that you see over there toward the bottom right, and then that little exclusive sticker that says Summer Vibes. And so that's going to be my title, Fabulous Summer Vibes. And I did add some foam behind both of those little pieces there, and I'm just going to layer it right on top of that green palm leaf because that seems like a good spot for it, and it stands out. And then I changed my mind about the little sticker that I had glued down on top of the word cool, and I'm going to wind up using one of these Pink Fresh Studio sentiment stickers here. I love that watercolor wash on all those stickers. I think it's so pretty, and it matches all these tropical colors so well. And I use a couple of those around the page, and yeah, I replaced it again with one of the Pink Fresh Studio puffy stickers. I forgot about that. I think I put 3 different stickers in that spot and wound up finally using that one that you see there. I did add another little sticker, or not sticker, flower underneath the Pocket Life card, just for a pop of pink. And then for my journaling, I come down here at the bottom with my gold metallic pen. And then the very last thing I do is I do add some gold splatters because I just felt like I needed some gold. And that's the Minor 49er that we got from Shimmers several months ago. And I just feel like that added the last little bit of a touch to it. So there's the final layout. I love this layout. I love how it turned out. The colors are my favorite. This is definitely my favorite kind of layout to make. I love using all the colors, and tropical things are just my favorite. So here you can see all the close-ups, all the dimension, and all of the details. I hope this inspires you to create something fun and tropical with your kits. The colors in the July kits are perfect for that. So anyway, let me know if you have any questions about any of the kits or any of the techniques that I use, anything at all, and I will be happy to answer you. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. I hope you have a great week.